Stop dropping $3 on specialized safe queens just because some armchair sniper at the local gun counter told you massive weight is the only way to buy accuracy. 99% of guys out there are still lugging 12-pound anchors up steep ridges, relying on batteries and thermal crutches instead of mastering pure optical glass. And it costs them the shot of a lifetime when their arms are shaking like a leaf from the grueling climb. Look, you think you know what a true versatile hunting setup looks like because you bought whatever the big brands were pushing last season. But let's be real, you have never seen the absolute game-changing machines hitting the dirt right now. Rigs that weigh less than your boots but still send heavy lead downrange with pure tack drive and precision under any conditions. We are ripping apart the 7 best versatile hunting platforms that actually earn their keep. And wait until you see the absolute monster we put at number 1. Kicking off this list at number 7, we have the CVA Scout XP. Look, I know the elitists will scoff at a break-action single shot making a versatile hunting list, but out in the thick brush where you only get one clean window, this compact tool is an absolute lifesaver, rugged and reliable. This rifle strips away the complexity of a bolt gun and gives you exactly what you need to neutralize a target. Slinging 450 Bushmaster downrange, it delivers massive terminal performance and drops heavy game right in their tracks. Under the hood, the Scout XP relies on a heavy-duty steel locking lug that bites directly into the barrel underlug. This mechanism gives you a lockup that is tighter than a bank vault, ensuring the chamber pressure stays completely contained while eliminating the headspace issues you see in cheaper break actions. Featuring a 20-inch fluted barrel, it keeps the weight balanced right between your hands at roughly 7.1 pounds. You are getting pure maneuverability without sacrificing velocity in heavy cover. Sending a round is an experience all its own. The factory trigger breaks surprisingly crisp, snapping like a frozen icicle. Zero mush, just a clean release. Touching off a heavy straight wall cartridge generates a kick that feels like a swinging sledgehammer against your collarbone. Thankfully, the factory recoil pad soaks up a massive chunk of that energy, keeping you in the fight after a long session in the woods. But let's be real, it is not entirely perfect. The major deal breaker here is the performance quirk of a single shot action. Because if you pull your shot, fishing another round out of your pocket to break the action open takes precious seconds you simply do not have. Running this rig means you absolutely must make that first trigger pull count. As for the damage to your wallet, this workhorse sets you back roughly $450. You are getting serious capability for the price of a budget rimfire. Moving on to number 6, we are looking at the Ruger American Rifle Gen 2. Honestly, the original was a decent entry-level gun, but this second generation is an absolute tack driver right out of the box. Rugged and ready for the dirt, this rifle bridges the gap between a cheap budget beater and a premium hunting rig. Feeds on 6.5 Creedmoor flawlessly, delivering serious terminal performance on medium game without absolutely destroying your shoulder. Under the hood, this platform runs a 3-lug bolt system featuring a 70-degree bolt throw instead of the traditional 90-degree lift that smashes your knuckles directly into the ocular bell of your optic. This shorter throw gives you massive hand clearance. It allows for lightning-fast follow-up shots while keeping your eye completely glued to the target. Weighing in at roughly 6.5 pounds with a spiral fluted barrel, it balances beautifully whether you're shooting off a hunting pack or a rigid bipod. Pressing the trigger on this rig is highly satisfying. The factory marksman trigger snaps like stepping on a dry pine cone. Totally crisp and predictable every single time you prep it. As for the kick, Dropping the hammer on a hunting load pushes back like a stubborn mule, but the factory muzzle brake tames it down to a very polite shove. Sound off below in the comments if you have already trusted this exact rig on a deep woods hunt. I know a ton of guys are making the switch this year, but here's the deal. It is not totally flawless. The major deal breaker here is the aesthetics and build of the bolt operation itself. While the mechanical lockup is incredibly solid, cycling the action sounds and feels exactly like pulling a heavy-duty metal zipper. It completely lacks that glassy smoothness you get from higher-tier platforms. Street price is roughly $769. You're getting serious capability for the money, even with that rough zipper feel. Stepping up the game for number 5, we are looking at the Tikka T3X Lite. This is the absolute gold standard for out-of-the-box reliability when you are deep in the backcountry. This rig is incredibly solid, but wait until you see the absolute monster sitting at number 1. It will completely change how you look at mountain rifles. Slings .308 Winchester downrange with total authority, delivering consistent terminal performance for any legal sporting application. It is a true workhorse that never quits. Diving into the mechanics, it features a cold hammer forged steel barrel crafted by some of the best in the business. That specific manufacturing process physically pounds the steel around a mandrel to form the rifling, which aligns the grain structure of the metal. Why does that matter? It gives you insane barrel life and a mirror-smooth bore that guarantees pure precision right out of the factory. Weighing right around 6.5 pounds, it carries effortlessly when you're putting miles on your boots. Prepping the single-stage trigger gives you immediate confidence. The brake snaps precisely like a fragile glass rod. Zero travel, just a clean and sudden drop. Driving a heavy hunting load into the chamber and pulling the trigger results in a kick that feels like a stiff jab from a heavyweight fighter. Thankfully, the newly designed recoil pad takes a massive bite out of that energy transfer, allowing you to stay right on the optic. Listen, you still need to know the downside. The major deal breaker here falls squarely into the financial category. While the base rifle is fairly priced, buying proprietary spare polymer magazines will absolutely drain your wallet. They are ridiculously expensive for what is essentially a molded piece of plastic. The damage to your wallet for the gun itself runs between $749 to $1,100. You are buying legendary mechanical smoothness. Just be ready to pay the premium for extra gear. Now we get serious with number 4, the Savage Impulse Core Hunter Pro. Look, this straight pull rig completely flips the script on what an American hunting rifle is supposed to be. Designed to deliver blistering follow-up shots on moving targets, this platform handles chaotic environments with absolute ease. It eats 300 PRC for breakfast, driving heavy lead deep and producing massive terminal performance on the toughest game. Underneath the hood, this beast runs a proprietary straight-pull linear lockup mechanism, utilizing 6 expanding ball bearings called the Hex Lock system. Why does this matter? Because instead of lifting and racking a standard bolt, those steel bearings expand directly into the barrel extension under pressure, creating a lockup that actually gets stronger as the chamber pressure spikes. This gives you the extreme reliability of a heavy-duty bolt action, but with a cyclic rate that borders on a semi-automatic platform. Weighing in roughly around 7.3 pounds, it balances the weight of its heavy barrel beautifully across your supporting hand. Rolling your finger onto the trigger gives you total command of the engagement. The brake snaps like a brittle slate rock right at the wall. Absolutely zero mush and highly predictable. Dropping the hammer on that big Magnum cartridge hits like a swinging sandbag directly against your shoulder. Fortunately, that factory-installed recoil pad eats up half of that kinetic energy, letting you get your crosshairs right back on the target in a fraction of a second. But let's be real, it is not completely flawless. The major deal breaker here drops straight into the ergonomics category. The straight pull bolt handle requires a very specific, aggressive yank straight backward. And if you are used to gently lifting a traditional bolt, the controls will feel incredibly stiff, and you will definitely short stroke this action under stress. Sets you back roughly $1,469. You are paying a premium for pure speed, but it earns its keep when the pressure is on. Entering the elite tier at number 3, we have the Browning X-Bolt 2 Speed HD. Honestly, if you want the absolute pinnacle of traditional hunting lines mixed with modern tactical features, this rig is a serious contender. Pushing 6.5 PRC down the barrel, it delivers exceptional terminal performance on big game while flying incredibly flat across wide-open canyons. Looking under the hood, this platform is built around the proprietary Tack composite stock system. This specific mechanism allows you to physically swap the grip modules on the fly, moving from a traditional swept sporter grip for fast-standing shots right into a vertical grip when you need to drop prone and establish a rock-solid firing position. At exactly 6 3/4 pounds, it is perfectly balanced for trekking through heavy timber or setting up on a windy ridge without breaking your back. Pressing the DLX trigger mechanism is purely clinical. The brake snaps cleanly like a heavy-duty wire cutter, completely crisp, stable, and extremely consistent. When you finally send a heavy hunting load downrange, it generates a kick that feels like a solid shoulder tackle from a heavy defensive lineman. But thanks to that factory-installed recoil hog muzzle brake, that violent energy is slashed down to a highly manageable shove, letting you spot your own impacts through the glass. But listen, every piece of gear has a flaw, and this one is no different. The major deal breaker here is a frustrating performance quirk regarding the proprietary rotary magazines. They are notoriously stubborn and get incredibly picky when you are trying to top them off with thick winter gloves. Expect to shell out roughly $1,380 for this setup. You are getting top-tier adaptability. Just make sure you practice loading those mags before you head into the deep woods. Closer to the crown, with number 2, we are looking at the Bergara Premier Cima Pro. Honestly, this is where we separate the weekend warriors from the absolute professionals. Chucking 7mm PRC downrange with surgical precision, this rig is an apex predator. It brings custom shop accuracy right into a factory production line, delivering massive terminal performance on big game while weighing in at a ridiculously light 5.5 pounds. Under the hood, the magic is in the proprietary Cure carbon barrel system. Unlike standard carbon wrapping that acts like an insulator and traps heat, this specific setup weaves continuous stainless steel strands directly into the carbon matrix to create a thermal bridge. Why does this matter? It aggressively pulls heat away from the chamber and bore, completely eliminating thermal point of impact shifts when you are laying down rapid strings of fire. Rolling your finger onto the trigger tech mechanism is an absolute dream. The brake snaps cleanly like a frozen carrot. Zero slack, just a sudden and violent release. Dropping the hammer on that heavy Magnum cartridge hits your shoulder like a pissed-off Bronco. Luckily, the self-timing ST2 directional muzzle brake vents that massive blast sideways, taming the violent recoil down to a manageable shove. But here's the truth. Even a masterpiece has a flaw. The major deal breaker here lands straight in the aesthetics and build category. While the carbon fiber stock is literally cured in an autoclave to be structurally indestructible, the exterior finish on top of it will show heavy scratches and wear the second you drag it across sharp mountain shale. To put this rig in your safe, it runs roughly $3,100. You're paying for aerospace level engineering, but you will definitely cry when you put that first scratch on it. Taking the absolute throne at number 1, we have the Christensen Arms Ridgeline FFT. Look, this is the absolute pinnacle of modern hunting technology. It gives you the raw adaptability of the Savage Impulse at number 4, but with a featherweight construction that puts the Bergara at number 2 to absolute shame. Why does it take the crown? Because it delivers uncompromising precision in a package that weighs practically nothing, completely eliminating the need to choose between a lightweight mountain gun and a heavy long-range powerhouse. Eat 7mm PRC for breakfast, guaranteeing devastating terminal performance on massive targets. Underneath the action, this rifle utilizes exclusive flash forge technology to build a true monocoque carbon fiber stock. Why does that matter? Traditional hand-laid carbon stocks can bend and flex under the extreme pressure of a heavy bipod, physically touching the barrel and completely destroying your harmonic consistency. This advanced forging process creates an incredibly rigid shell that ensures your heavy contour barrel remains perfectly free-floating, locking in that sub-minute of angle accuracy, no matter how hard you lean into the rifle. Resting your finger on the factory trigger tech mechanism feels absolutely clinical. The break snaps cleanly like a fragile dry wishbone, totally sharp, immediate, and without a single ounce of creep. Weighing in at an unbelievably light 5.4 pounds, carrying this rig up a steep 12,000-foot elevation feels like you are simply carrying a lightweight walking stick, rugged and lethal. Sending a massive magnum round out of a gun, this light should technically kick like a furious draft horse directly against your collarbone. Fortunately, that factory-installed stainless steel side baffle muzzle brake violently catches and redirects those expanding gases, shrinking the brutal recoil down to a very firm but highly manageable push. Handing over the cash for this ultimate setup runs exactly $2,049. It demands a premium, but it is the last hunting rig you will ever need to buy. Look, that officially wraps up the heavy hitters for this year. These 7 platforms are completely tearing down the old boundaries of what a versatile hunting setup can actually do out in the dirt. We are living in an era where you no longer have to choose between carrying a massive metal anchor or settling for a flimsy ultralight that wanders off target after only 2 shots. But here's the hard truth. Throwing a couple of grand at a premium rifle will not buy you a successful hunt if you refuse to put in the reps behind the trigger. A high-tier piece of glass and a carbon fiber barrel mean absolutely nothing if your fundamentals fall apart the second a heavy mountain crosswind picks up. Stop wasting your hard-earned cash on pure industry hype and start investing in serious gear that actually earns its keep when the pressure is on. Get out to the range, burn through some heavy powder, and learn exactly what your machine is capable of before you drag it into the deep backcountry. If you want the raw truth without the fluff, lock it in right here.